So I'm a very active person. I'm always moving around and I tend to get hurt quite often. Sometimes because I didn't stretch, I did something stupid, or because, you know, that's what comes with being active. It's good for you, they said, except when you get hurt. Now, I see a lot of healthcare professionals from just past injuries that I neglected to take care of and all that stuff. I have the means to afford my own personal health insurance. I'm not made of money, so I can't see these healthcare professionals every single week. And I also believe in being able to treat yourself in between. Now, disclaimer, I'm not a healthcare professional, I'm not a doctor. Every single body is different. But I do enjoy having different tools at home to be able to speed up my recovery whenever I do get injuries, especially if they're minor and I don't really have to go see a chiro or physio or an osteo. So there's a company that reached out to me a few weeks ago that asked if I was interested in reviewing this product, and I took a look at it. I didn't even know this was a thing, and I said, yes, of course I would like it actually, because I'm always looking for more tools to speed up my recovery. This particular product is called AchedAway. This is actually a cupping tool, but it's a way modern take on it. And cupping is something that I've done in the past with my massotherapist. I've had very traditional cupping. My acupuncturist would do something called glide cupping, where she would take the cupping towards the end of the treatment and just run it along the skin with a little bit of that negative pressure, so it's sucking a little bit. And what that's supposed to do is supposed to help break the blood capillary, and it's supposed to help release the toxins and all that stuff in your body. If you watched the Olympics a few years ago, not so sure about more recent Olympics, but I do remember there was a year that Michael Phelps was in. He had a bunch of circular marks on the back of his back, and it looked like he got into a fight with an octopus. That was cupping. A lot of athletes are using cupping these days. I mean, athletes will pretty much use anything that can help with their performance and recovery. I like to think that this is one of the many tools that I could use, but I wouldn't say it's one that I would rely on completely. And I'm gonna go into what all of this is and all of the features that it has. AchedAway Cupper is a dynamic electronic cupper massage therapy with red light therapy. It's kind of like a smart cupper. And I really hope that my ancestors are proud of this type of technology existing. It's old school Chinese medicine meets tech. And it doesn't seem that many companies that do this so far. There's something really beautiful about something old school done by hand. I have like vintage Stetson hats, I have fountain pens. I really like that old tactile thing. I don't own a smartwatch, but sometimes tech can actually make things a little bit better. I don't know if I want to say it's better, it's definitely different. And let's go through all of this. Let's start with what cupping is. So the old Chinese medicine philosophy is whenever there is pain in your body, it's a blockage of your qi, which is like the energy through your body, blockage of blood. Cupping is a method to clear those blockages and restore the body's natural flow of energy and alleviating the pain. On a more physical note, the suction helps promote blood circulation, and it may help with alleviating tension, promoting cell repair, and aid in other generation. I've also heard that cupping basically helps to bring all the blood there, and the blood carries nutrients to help repair your body. Once again, take this with a grain of salt, I'm not a professional. So what I like about cupping is it's harder to mess up. It's pretty easy to do it yourself. I've known about different versions of cupping. I didn't know about this until the company reached out to me. So I kind of see this as version 3. Version 1 is the old school traditional way of having a cotton swab with alcohol, lighting it on fire, putting it in a glass jar, putting the fire swab into the glass jar, which is basically creating this negative pressure because you're burning the oxygen in there, and then you stick it on the patient's skin with or without oil. All of these can work with or without oil. With oil tends to be a little bit easier on the skin because you're not pulling your dry skin. So that's version 1. Version 2 is actually something I do have that my mom bought a long time ago in Asia somewhere. I had this sitting in my closet for years because I am unable to use this on myself because I usually want to use it on my back, and with the moving and stuff, it just doesn't work. Different heads like this, and the way it works is same idea. You want to basically remove the air. All of it is removing the air, but it's a different kind of mechanism. It's this really sturdy plastic cup. You put it in here, take the air out like this, and then you do the little sucking, and you can see right now here it's sucking, and then you pop that out. And then to take the air out, you'd pull that out, introduce air, and the negative pressure is removed. So this is really cool. This would be easier for me to use on someone else, but not really on my own, especially in the hard to reach areas. And then this is kind of what I'm considering version 3 because it's a smart cupper, which is wild to even look at to see where it came from to this. So this is the AchedAway Cupper. So there's different techniques for cupping. I mentioned the gliding cupping, which my acupuncturist used after treatments. There's also the stationary cupping where you just leave it on and just keep that pressure there for a while until you just remove it. What they use here is called dynamic cupping. So it periodically sucks and then releases a bit and sucks, releases. It doesn't release to full neutral pressure. There's still a little bit of negative pressure, a little bit of suction, but it sucks more, then releases a little bit, sucks more, releases a little bit, and that's why it's called dynamic cupping. It's supposed to help speed up the recovery process because it's actively stimulating the subcutaneous nerves through this alteration of intensity of sucking. So now let's talk about what is included in the AchedAway Cupper. So now this comes in singles and in pairs. This is the single unit. You could buy a bunch of them as well if you're a healthcare professional and you want to just have a bunch on a patient. So you get the cupper, you get a lanyard, which is super, super important to use. If it's not properly well placed or you end up moving and this ends up falling on the ground, I mean, you don't want to break it. Very simple but effective solution, and it's happened to me where it actually did fall off once because I moved or it wasn't well suctioned or it was in a weird spot on my back, and having this definitely protected this because that would suck if this fell. It's not the cheapest thing. You get a user manual in there. You get 2 other heads that you can use. So you have a small, medium, large, and the small one has a little bit of a curve on it. So you can get specific areas in your body. Human body's not a straight plank of wood. So yes, this is very useful in certain areas. Very easy to change the head. Just do a little twist and screw the other one on. Simple as that. You also get a charging cable and you get a few extra filters that are right here. These filters, you'll need to change them once in a while once they start getting dirty. If you notice a suction cup is not working as well. And those filters are right here. It prevents any dirt and oils from entering into the machine where it's actually sucking. So you'll want to be mindful about that. You can also order more filters. I wasn't able to get a clear price from the customer service, but they were mentioning you can contact them through their Instagram or through the contact us, and you can speak with them and they'll be able to arrange getting replacement filters for you. But seeing as you have a few and these come with it, and if you are pretty good with keeping up with cleaning as much as possible and just not using it in the most, I don't know, be smart about how you use it. I don't see that having to be replaced all that often. You do get some extras and then you can contact them if anything. And I believe that the pair, the one that they sell in a pair, comes with a carrying case as well. So the price for a single one is currently 169 US. And that is a promotional price as the company is just starting to get out there. The regular price will eventually increase to $249. For the pair, you're looking at $299 for the promotional price, and eventually will become $429 US for the pair. I will have all of the links in the description down below. Please consider using the links and the code as it will cost you nothing. They're affiliate links and they will help the channel. But as a bonus, you'll also be able to save $25 off your order with JustCuz25. They offer free worldwide DHL, FedEx, UPS delivery, and they also ship out of Canada. So if you're Canadian, you're not looking at any extra duties and taxes. At least that was the case for me, and that's what they told me as well. And it took about 7 to 10 days for it to arrive. It's really small. Battery life is 3 hours. The charging time is 2.5 hours. The charging cable is USB-C, but I would suggest using the cable that comes with it. And also just read the instruction manual to figure out what power you should be using on this thing. There's a suction intensity of up to 60 kPa. And there is a red light as well in there for some red light therapy to help with inflammation, to help with speeding up recovery, to help with lessening the redness marks as well. That wavelength is 630 to 670 nm. It's supposed to help bring faster results in healing to the skin and muscle tissue, as well as creating more relaxation. And I believe it also helps with the redness. So when you cup, you'll notice that you're gonna get some red marks, as I mentioned. That's inevitable, it's gonna happen. So if you're planning to use this and you're planning on wearing a tank top, you know, go to a music festival and be cute or something, just time it properly. Or don't care and just go out and live your life. It's kind of what I did. Then a lot of people were very confused when they would see my back. I don't care. They were actually really concerned, but it was just a very round circular thing on my back. Now, I'm not sure if it's the dynamic cupping, the infrared light, or maybe just because I've taken so much more care of my body in the last few years, but I have noticed that the red marks that I would get from this, it was never as intense as the red marks I would get from the traditional cupping back in the day when my body was probably a lot more broken than it is now. So I'm thinking that It is helping the dynamic cupping as well, the red light, to reduce that redness, but my body is in a better state now than it was before, so it's hard to really compare. It really depends on so many different factors. I'm gonna include some links in the description down below that will be interesting for you to see. I even found a website that talked about the different colors, redness that you would get and what it would mean, what it would tell you with what was wrong with your body. So that was really interesting. But I would say within 2 to 3 days it was gone, but it could go up to maybe a week. It really depends on your situation. But after the first few days, it does fade quite a bit. And then it looks just like when a bruise is healing towards the end, when it's kind of dissipated and it's a little bit sparse, kind of looks a little bit like that. It looks like a bruise that's healing. There are ways to help with the redness. I've seen online they say putting a hot compress would help, massaging it with essential oils. Another thing I saw online mentioned red light therapy, but red light therapy is already included in here, so you don't really need to do that additionally. I mean, I guess you could, but it's already in here, so it's already applying red light therapy as you're using the product. They also mentioned bathing in hot water. So basically anything warm seems to be helping. So let's talk about in use and all of the product, the features, the specs. You have over here the power button. You have M for mode, you have light and intensity. So there's 5 modes and 5 intensities. So what's interesting with the intensity is it doesn't suck more. The intensity doesn't increase because it's already quite intense, but what it does is in the dynamic part where it sucks in, stops, and then releases, that second button, the intensity button, plays more with the duration of the suction. And then the different modes have different patterns of suction. So pressing the power button, little blue light. It's blue until it's on your body, then it's red. The suction's already started. You press M. You can hear this is the other suction. So you can hear it go boom, 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 boom. And the intensity as well. And then to turn it off, you can long press it. There's a lot of audible cues, which are really good. So maybe if you have vision problems, that could be helpful. Although there's not really any distinction between the buttons in terms of touching it. There were different colors for the lights. Once you are finished using the cupper, there is still a little bit of suction, so it's not gonna easily fall off. If you wanna release it a little bit easier, you can stick your fingers underneath the cup to get some air in there and equalize it, and then it'll pop right off because it'll lose its suction. Always give it a nice little clean. You're gonna see a little bit of dead skin, especially if you're using essential oils on your skin to just make it a little bit easier on your skin. I tend to just use it dry. Just give it a nice clean around inside of it. You don't want to get any of that gunk accumulating. You could use some mild soap with a microfiber cloth of some sort. Think of the ones that you use for your glasses, sunglasses, to clean off your screen for your phone, or what you're supposed to use to clean off all of those things. And if you're using this in a healthcare professional setting, you'll want to use something a little bit strong to disinfect between patients. Methylated spirit, which could prevent some sort of skin disease transmission. So I'm assuming if you're a healthcare professional, you have your ways of disinfecting between patients anyway, so I don't think I'm saying anything revolutionary, or do whatever you're currently using. The default timer on this is 12 minutes. You can always manually stop it, of course, but if you sync it with the app, you also have more options. But you don't need to use this product with the app, but there is an app for Android and iOS, and that opens up more possibility. So in the app, you can change the timer from 1 second up until 12 minutes. The default is 12 minutes. I've asked them if they're planning on making any type of change at the default timer here, so that every time you turn it on, it would reprogram to, let's say, 6 minutes or 5 minutes, if that's how long you wanted it to be. For now, they said there are no plans, but that is something they could look into. So maybe with time, they'll be updating the app, so that'd be really interesting to be able to have other options. It's also fine currently, because I could just stop it whenever. Forces me to sit and do nothing. In order to get this started, then you would search for it. It starts automatically, the suction cup. You can pretty much start it right away. And then you can control up to 6. Over here, we just have one of them, which I named. The default timer is 12 minutes. You can't change that for now. Hopefully in the future you will, but you can change it in the app like this, and then it'll go from there. You can change all the modes here, turn on and off the infrared light, The only thing is now you see, you will not have control via here. The whole idea is you control it either manually on the device itself or on the app. You have the battery life here. I don't love the battery reader. It's not the clearest for me, but generally haven't had issues with keeping that in check and then charging it. You can contact them like this very easily, which is great. Very simple, straightforward. It's not the most beautiful looking app, but it works really well. It's everything you need. What I really like with the app though is that I have full control of the cupper, all of the intensities, everything in there when it's on my back and I am unable to reach any of the buttons. So I can just pull up my phone and just change any of the settings, which is great. What I like about this, honestly, I like a lot about it. I like using this in tandem with my massage gun and my other therapies, of course. But what I really like about this that I am unable to do with my massage gun very easily is stick it on my back. And that's, most of my pain is on my back and my shoulders. And I'm able to put that on there by myself. I don't need anyone to help me. I just turn it on, put the lanyard on my head, stick it on my back. And then I watch TV while I have this on my back. But if I want to be fully relaxed and have, you know, my muscles kind of ease into it, I just lie on my bed and chill out. And it's like having my own little massage, which is fantastic. I really love that for this. It's really passive and it works really well. Ultimately, I see this as another tool in my kit. I am somewhat of a minimalist, so I don't like accumulating too much stuff. Right now, in terms of my recovery, I have a torturous foam roller that I basically never use. I have a yoga mat to do some stretches. I have my massage gun that I really like using. I use this a lot on neck, some of my legs, especially my forearms from all the computer work. And then I have this one now that I really love using mainly on my back, but with time I might start using this on other parts of my body, but definitely the back. This doesn't replace the massage gun. The massage gun doesn't replace this, doesn't replace any of the healthcare professionals I go see. I find they all work really well together. For me, usually it's kind of the case. It's not one thing in silo. It's a combination of things that tend to work. I love that this gives me independence. Other people that, well, can't reach their backs, and I'm flexible. Like I can easily reach my back. My hands can touch on my back, but I can't. It's hard to hold a massage gun. So this gives me that autonomy, and I'm thinking that's going to give a lot of other people autonomy as well in helping with any of their muscle recovery. Even if they're not sporty, but they're bedridden, I feel like this could help. But I'm not a healthcare professional. Please check with your doctor. Check with all of them, of course. I just really like the possibilities that this has, and that I can basically get rid of this because this has just been sitting in my pantry forever. This version 2, that's plastic. I mean, it's great if I was using this on somebody else, but I'm not. And I'd like to use this on myself. And now this allows me to do that. I'm really curious to know if you've ever heard of anything that's like this, if you've heard about cupping at all, if that's something that's new to you. I'd like to hear all those comments down below. Let me know if you're planning on getting one or what you currently use in your recovery toolkit. Like this video if you found it helpful, share it, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.